We've actually spoken many years ago about Queen of the South. So I'm
Oh,
super excited, yeah, to
nice.
be
Nice to
talking
see
to you
you
again.
again.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get started. What drew you to Hypnotic?
More than anything, I've always wanted to work with Robert. I've seen his work for many years. I worked with him, but he was a producer of a film that I did, Predators. So I really wanted to. I was always curious to work with him as an actress. He has done so many different films, like from El Mariachi to Sin City to Heroes to Spy Kids,
Yeah.
completely different styles of films of directing, like all of that. So he was a director that I really wanted to work with. And also this story, it's a script that he's been writing for many, many years. He always wanted. Robert has like almost a kid's vibe into being like really excited about something. And it's so wonderful to get the chance to work on a project that it's in his backyard, which Troublemaker Studios is part of who he is. When you go there is like Dio, which is one of the actors in the film. He said it perfectly. He said it's like Willy Wonka factory. Like it's like the world that he creates. It's in his backyard. So I think all those details about this project really made me excited to jump on board, like to work with him. He's a Latino director that really believes in representation, and he supports a lot the Latin community. He brings Latin actors like myself to work on his films. And this was a genre film that he never done, kind of a style that he was, excited to bring it on. So I think all those you know, details made me really excited to jump on board to work with him.
Yeah, I love him as a director, partly for that range that you mentioned. I was excited to see the film. And I think one of the things that makes him exciting for me as someone who works specifically in like Latino representation is how he brings Latinos with him wherever he goes, whether it's like a film that requires it or not. And I'm curious for you, what do you think the significance is of your character in this movie being Latina?
I think it's wonderful. He always bring like now the next one, Spy Kids, that is coming. Gina Rodriguez is in it. Like every he worked with on Alita. Oh my God, I adore her. I blank her name, the actress that did Alita, Rosa Salazar.
Mm.
She's phenomenal. So he always brings that representation. And I think it's so important for a director so established like him to do that and to create, for example, Diana Cruz she didn't have to be Latina, but he wrote as a Latina, probably because of his culture, his background, and for representation, I think like, of course, uh, it doesn't change the story. It's not like it's not a piece of the story that she's Latina, but I think that's the best way of representing. We're not putting a box to just do characters that is like, oh, it's the immigrant. Oh, it's like the storyline that is about this. I played a drug dealer for many years on TV on Queen of the South, and it was great. It was based on a novel, and it was a great experience. But it's so wonderful when we get the chance to work with directors established and they're wonderful directors like him, but doing roles that not necessarily is like, oh, we need to play the same type of roles because, oh, it's Latino. And I think that's
Mhm.
so wonderful, like having a Latina woman playing that part that it has a representation of being Latina, but it's not, oh, we're putting it because it's this storyline that she's Latina.
Mhm.
She's just another important character in the film that have a live story, that has a journey to be pursued by. And I love that support and that excitement that Robert brings to all of us in the community because it's always important when it comes from above, especially from a director or a producer or studio executives, like from down, like from that way down, it's very important, I think, for us to make a change and have more representation.
I
So
agree.
I
And I
get
think it's
excited talking
exciting.
about it.
No, it's good. It's good. And I think it's really exciting too to be like, Latinas are everywhere. We can do everything, right? Like it's important to tell stories that are really specific. And then it's important to drop us into sci-fi thriller pieces as well. And so I was really excited to see that element for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's wonderful to tell our stories, that it's part of who we are, but also it's important for all of us creators to be able to do whatever, being Latinos. And I think that's why I love the work that Rosa Salazar did on Alita, is because of that. It's a completely different character, but the representation is so important.
For sure, for sure. And so what are you hoping that audiences take away from the film?
I mean, it's a ride.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Like it's a very fun film, I think, to watch, because there's a lot going on. And Robert, he wrote that script such a long time ago, and to finally be able to make it, it was interesting, and it was such a wonderful experience to be by his side while he was making it, because it was a film that it's been on the make, like on his side for such a long time. I think that excitement to make it was so wonderful. But it's a movie that it's basically like a film noir. He wanted a genre film. He wanted a thriller. So there's a lot of nuances in the film that it's a journey of itself. So I really hope people enjoy the ride, because there's a lot going on, and it's very Robert's film. It's very much a genre film that Roberts love to do it. So I hope people just have fun watching it, because there's a lot of action, there's a lot of turnarounds, and it could be very entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. There are so many twists and turns. Right? It's like one movie and then it's another and then it's another. It's another. As an actress, did you read the whole script at start? Like, how did you manage the like changing reality in front of you?
It was challenging in the sense that I really wanted to be connected with Robert more than anything, to understand what he wanted, so then we could all follow his lead. So I had a lot of conversations with him about tone, what style, what kind of acting would you see, like more of a dramatic, not this, not that. So he was the one that really punctuated the differences. He wanted a version of her to be more cold, to be more harsh, to be like more strict, and the other one to be more hippie, to be more loose. That's why he made the change. Like he really wanted different hairs and different styles. So for that specificity of the characters, we really discussed to understand. But I tried not to make completely different, that it's not almost not believable it's the same person. I tried to keep a little bit of a train of humanity or warmth or kindness, that even though if she's tougher, there's something underneath that is not just being tough and all that. So it was an interesting ride as an actor, because you really need to be connected with the director more than anything. Otherwise, it would be we could be each one of us playing a different reality if we're not all connected. So it was fun.
That's I can see that. And I remember seeing the changes in the hair and the costumes as like part of the cues, which was cool from a filmmaking perspective. So I guess my last question for you is going to be about motherhood and family. I feel like this film did an interesting, maybe a little bit of a switch, a gender switch than what you might typically see. And I was curious about the significance of that to you and to the audience.
I think that's a wonderful question, because I remember when I read the script, I liked it a lot, that it switches, the side of it, like who was the parent that ended up going through that different journey. Is not trying to give it away too much,
Right.
but who was the parent that would stay? Who were the parents that would go, or took the decision or not took the decision? Like how seeing the raising of a child that we normally see on storytelling, on filmmaking, and how we can flip that. And I think it's important. It's important because families are different, point of views are different. And I think we always see a bunch of things being portrayed in one way. And I thought it was interesting that Robert wanted the male character to be the one that took some decisions that normally we would see a mom doing it, and how they would agree to do that. And I think in part of it is to not be discovered, but just making that decision to change the patterns of what we normally see in filmmaking. I thought is a great choice that it was basically Robert, because it was on the script since day one. And I love it. I love it. I think it's important for us to play motherhood, fatherhood, like in different ways, because then it's all inclusive. There's not one certain specific way, in my opinion, as a woman, as an actress, that it should be done. I think we're all multiple, we're all free to make the choices that we want to make. So however they are, it's important to be represented. And I really enjoyed that Robert made that decision for the film, because it doesn't have to be one way.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I
Thank
so
you.
appreciate it. It was fun talking to you today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a wonderful day.